Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 141. We continue our journey in hazard identification, and today we do a little focusing on machine guarding. Let's just jump right in. So basically, with machine guarding, we're guarding the point of operation. So we're trying to keep a finger, a stick, a rock, some kind of mechanism, something out of that point of operation. And when we think of a point of operation, it's going to have rotating parts. You could possibly also have a little bit of pinch points and shear points there too. But when we really think about it, we're thinking about like motors and pumps, flywheels, belts, chains, pulleys, those types of things. There's a lot of machine guarding out there, but those are the ones that really kind of jump out towards us. If you're working on pieces of wood. We're thinking about machine guarding. We have the blade going and all that good stuff. One of the big things that the guard should do is that it allows the machine to operate and doesn't create any new hazards out there too. Many times you'll see where these things are painted a certain color out there, whether that's yellow or orange or something, just to really make sure that it's super obvious because typically when you have a guard on something also means that you have to have access to it, and maybe that access you're doing some form of maintenance, lubrication, you're changing the belt, the motor, the pulley. There's just some kind of reason why that is just not a fixed guard, something that cannot be taken off, as opposed to a machine guard on there. Sometimes you'll find these where it's like a small cage around there, and it's also for heat too. It also does a great job of it doesn't dissipate heat, of course. It just lets the air flow through that chamber and let it naturally air cool. So there's going to be reasons why these guards are on there, and also why that they're going to be taken off at the same time too. Then um, let's talk about doing some homework if you're going to buy a new piece of equipment. So um, what can you do to lessen machine guards? What can you do to really make sure to go back? Because we hope that when they get taken off, they get put right back in the same position again. Um, that we have the discipline as a work site that we're just not taking them off and saying, well, let's just leave it off. We have to take it off every day to do X. Let's just leave it off. I mean, it's real small. Everybody's smart. They're not going to put a finger in there. They're not going to do anything. They're not going to. So, so we hope that we want to go back, of course, obviously, and minimize the need to take these things off of there then. So, if you have existing equipment, and that's most of us in this boat, a lot of us are going to be, we come on board and we're kind of stuck with what we're stuck with then. So one of the best things is just to literally walk through the plant, assess your machine guarding. Um, if you find a machine guard all by itself, we'll call this one like a little orphan. He's just all by himself, sitting there in the corner, painted yellow or orange, some kind of color. Then, so um, that means that you have a something that's not guarded right now. Sometimes they're very obvious, other times they're not so obvious out there. So get with your maintenance folks. These guys have a lot of knowledge about the stuff, and they can help you to go back and look at these things, figure out these things. Um, a few times I was able to work with the maintenance guys, and they would say, "Oh, we have to put grease in this grease fitting right here that you can see, dot, dot, dot." And we were able to take a guard, modify the guard where we would then have the hose for the grease fitting would come out, and all that good stuff then. And that seemed to really help out an awful lot because the goal, of course, is that you want people to be safe, but you also understand that part of being safe is that the machine has to run. You just can't run something to failure and then say, well, I guess we'll go out buy something new. Somebody always has to take that off for some reason out there to do something then. So those guys are really good, and one of the things that I like to do is to, when I look at the machine guards, I like to integrate that into the equipment-specific lockout tagout assessments that some people do, some people don't do. You know, really kind of depends on your country and your law and your rule. Uh, but if you list that down as a step, you know, part of the step is the tool is locked out. We've checked it for power. The guard is off. Part of bringing the machine back online, the guard is back in place, you know, too. So it's I like to think that really helps out a lot. Some of the maintenance folks have told me that helps them to really use it as a checklist. Like, okay, I've done this, I've done that. Um, they're really good folks, but many times when somebody calls a maintenance person, it's not to tell them they've done a good job. It's to tell them, I need you to do the following things as quick as possible. So as being human, sometimes they kind of feel that pressure of, I got to get this done. Okay, so episode number 141 is complete. Today we talked about, we continued the journey of hazard identification, and we focused on machine guarding only. Um, Go back, look at what you have in place, really get with the folks, because all of us can sit in our offices and our cubes and ponder about things and look at manuals. And not that we're not doing a great job in doing things, but there's people with a lot more knowledge, and not just knowledge, but that hands-on knowledge. It's really easy to read a manual and say, I'm trained, not the same as doing it all day, every day. Get with those folks, um, and just come up with a plan to make things better out there. The key is we want people to operate safe, you know, and but we also know that there's a reason why that the guard is there, and it's just not a fixed gigantic sheet of steel that cannot be taken off. There's a reason why that they want it off. So episode 141 is complete. We talked about hazard identification and machine guarding. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Dr. David Ayers. Thank you and have a safe day.